The Coast Guard and other first responders in Baltimore have shifted their search and rescue mission to one of recovery. Despite the numbers you are about to hear from dispatch after a container ship lost power and took out the main support of the Francis Scott Key Bridge at about 1:30 Tuesday morning, the number of missing and presumed dead stands at 6, although that could change.
Marine Command, go. Per the U.S. Coast Guard on VHF 16, they're advising they've got at least 13 to 14 in the water. And I think I heard an earlier transmission stating at least 3 or 4 vehicles that were on the bridge at the time.
At last report, 2 road workers were rescued from the Patapsco River, and the number of road workers who were on the bridge at the time of the collapse is believed to be 8. Officials are not saying how many drivers, if any, may have been on the bridge at the time, although dispatch initially put that number at 3 or 4 vehicles, as you heard. The Sri Lanka-bound Dolly is said to have issued a mayday call when it lost power moments before crashing into the bridge. That is believed to have given police time to stop any more drivers from entering what was left of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. The missing workers are believed to be from El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and some from Mexico. Also on Tuesday, Joe Biden said the federal government will pay for the entire cost of rebuilding that bridge and getting Baltimore Harbor open again, which has a reported $81 billion impact on the U.S. economy. 10 ships are said to be trapped in Baltimore Harbor right now.
A new government watchdog report revealed the infamous House members called the Squad secured more than $220 million in earmarks since the start of fiscal year 2023. According to Just the News, the OpenTheBooks.com report indicated that the 8 representatives got millions for pet causes like environmental justice, diversity, and immigration assistance. In fiscal year 2023, the 12 spending bills were crammed with 7,510 earmarks, totaling just over $16 billion. The watchdog group spokesperson told Just the News a full analysis of the $1.2 trillion spending bill wasn't complete, but early estimates indicated the Squad members had secured $3.5 million of earmarks. These lump sums of what's known in politics as pork were banned for 10 years, beginning in 2011, with concerns they funded corruption and waste. However, both Republicans and Democrats revived the costly practice in 2021. Right now, let's talk with the wallbuilders.com co-author of the American Story, Victory News contributor Tim Barton. Tim, welcome to Victory News.
Thanks, Greg. Good to be here.
All right, Tim, $220 million in earmarked taxpayer dollars for woke causes. Are you surprised the Squad members learned to work the system so quickly?
No, because there was so much corruption in the system, and that's been going on for so long. It wasn't like they were creating something that's never been done before. And one of the things we've known for a long time is it's not merely the members of Congress that are the problem, it's the staff members. And so often people say we need to replace the members of Congress. We should have term limits. There's a lot of thoughts regarding members of Congress, but the reality is when you put 20 and 30-year-olds that have been in college in the last 2 decades, that have been drinking all of this woke Kool-Aid, when you put them in charge of writing and drafting legislation, and they're the ones coming up with these ideas, it's no surprise it's going this direction. It's just reflective of the corruption that's in D.C. When Donald Trump talked about draining the swamp, most people didn't realize that the swamp included the staff of our congressmen.
Okay, let's switch over to the news. NBC's news staff forced a public apology and the firing of former RNC chair Ronna McDaniel, who was hired to offer a conservative view. Here's a sample of the on-air revolt.
Literally backed an illegal scheme to steal an election in the state of Michigan. That is the type of experience that Ronna McDaniel brings to the table. And that experience does not get us to a deeper understanding of anything in the public debate.
All right, Tim, how about NBC never host a GOP primary debate? GOP senators, congressmen never go on Meet the Press, or no NBC anchor be allowed in any presidential debate going forward, because aren't they saying Democrats only, or am I reading it wrong?
Yeah, I mean, what they're saying is you can't trust a Republican. You can't trust their motivation. Anyone that questions if any kind of fraudulent activity happened in the election. They mentioned Michigan, where there's over 100,000 people on the voter rolls that are not eligible to vote in that state. I mean, there's all kinds of issues. And if you acknowledge any of those, then you're not worthy of being on the show. And it's also one of the interesting dichotomies that when you look at, for example, conservatives, Christians, Republicans, if you look at conservative media, they're not afraid to talk talk to people on the other side of the aisle. And likewise, we're not afraid to go on to any outlet because we understand something fundamentally, that the truth is not insecure, that the truth doesn't mind being questioned, but there is a side that wants to censor. There's a side that wants to silence. There's a side that does not want to allow the presentation of any kind of honest, truthful, and whether they think it is or not, any kind of information that they disagree with or doesn't fit into their narrative and agenda. And this, again, is just a reflection of the dishonesty, the hypocrisy of so much of the media on the left.
Let's focus up north in Canada. Canadians have suffered under the woke leadership and inflation of Pierre Trudeau too long. Now conservative Pierre Poilievre, he holds a 25% lead in the polls because of his common sense platform in interviews like this one.
A lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but
like who?
I don't know who, but
well, you're the one who asked the question, so yeah. You must know somebody.
I love it. You're the one that asked a question. Trudeau expanded the Canadian money supply 8 times faster than their economy. The value of their money is plummeting. Is this why Trudeau and his party are desperately trying to delay elections as long as possible?
It certainly makes sense. When you look at how the people of Canada are receiving his leadership, certainly they are not pleased with so much of what he's done. And it's no surprise that you have people looking for just a normal person. Can we please have an elected official that's not a partisan hack? Can we just have a normal person there? And when you look at his opponent, it seems like just one of the most normal people there could be. He's not aggressive. He's not ridiculous. He asks logical questions. There's a reason that Justin Trudeau is behind in the polls, and hopefully he loses this next election.
Yeah, now don't take lessons from that. You're the one asking the question. Don't do that to me next time you're on. Tim, thanks so much. Back to you in just a moment.